one game away. Blow up. We're playing for something, man. We're playing for something. This gotta mean something to you. It gotta mean something. Everything you got. Let's finish this.
Do it, fellas.
Let's go.
Let's do it, fellas.
Finish 2 3. 1 2 3.
You ready to make history? Come on now. Yeah. You know there's these two words. And when I say them, people get goosebumps cause they know what happens next. So without further ado,
Free smoke.
look. Scared cause I'm drowning in silence with bad thoughts. These days I don't have nothing to say, man, the bag talks. I put in headphones on my driver. Pull up to the spot and give a good dick and Godiva. I can't lie, I'm uninspired. No more pillow talking about nonsense. I only stick around to put some band-aids on my conscience. I don't know why I feel so bad, nigga. That's what we do, no foundation. We don't build no more, we just screw. Half a bottle of Henny, girl, I'm going with the wind. The same niggas say they happy for me, ain't want me to win. So I'm done on my friends. Don't need help popping Coronas and reminiscing. I just call up Big Bro J and say it's time for venting. If I live forever, I hold this hate for some centuries. You don't know how much I have you doing what it meant to me, but motherfuck all that. I don't even offer up the time to make the call back. Stupid Lodo, if they don't get the picture now, man, I crop them out of the photo. I can't relate to my peers. Been doing this shit for years. I'm motivated by fears. I took the wheel and I steer. My sound not dictated by fuck boys in Atlanta. Stay gifted like this album was ghost written by Santa. Boss forever like they decided to throw me under slammer. Every song's a hit like they picture me underhanders. I could drop 1,000,000 songs, but they never gon' understand us. Soapbox sermons for niggas never giving chances. Fight our whole lives to get these weak ass advances. Work twice as hard for the shit that they getting handed. And this ain't even nothing we chose, nigga, we branded. Still can't tell why all of these niggas mad at me. I'm trying to get 100 so I can put my team on salary. Give it all to the art, man, I turn my life to a gallery. Man, damn, what a fucked up masterpiece. 1,100 shots and I swear, man, I felt them all. If we ain't even good on our blocks, man, who can we call? Pre-decline state of mind, we broke crabs in the barrel. Got us fighting our folk, man, this shit just a life of peril.
Winning has a price. And leadership has a price.
I promised myself I wasn't gonna bring up race in this battle. Well, that was a white lie.
With the 55th pick in the 2024 NBA Draft, the Los Angeles Lakers select Bronny James from the University of Southern California.
Welcome back to another episode of Kicking It with Saint. I was supposed to push the record button like an hour ago, and then I hopped on TikTok. And I proceeded to sit on TikTok for the next hour and just scroll through TikToks, bro. TikTok is a hilarious place. I'm looking for something, and I cannot find it. Give me a minute. Found exactly what I was looking for. We got a lot to talk about tonight because it is nighttime when I'm recording this. But I hope everybody had a dope day out there. Dope day, dope afternoon, dope whichever point in time of the day you're listening to this. I appreciate you for joining me on another episode of Kicking It with Saint. I truly do. I say it all the time. But you could have been anywhere else in the world. So stopping by to kick it with me, it means a lot. And I truly do appreciate it. We got a lot to get into tonight. Paul George is officially a Philadelphia 76er. The Warriors are running a terrible franchise, it would seem like, on the outside looking in at the moment. Klay Thompson is a Dallas Maverick. We got a lot to talk about. Malik Hooker called out Micah Parsons. Yo, it's a lot going on in the sports world. Give me like 3 seconds real quick, though. Well, it's going to be more than 3 seconds. Give me a little quick minute to do something real quick. I'm adjusting something. Hold up. I'm almost done. Hold up. Got another quick little second. and we are situated. Listen, we got a lot to talk about tonight. Going forward on the show, I don't know how much I'm going to be talking about the WNBA. Actually, I'm probably still going to talk about the WNBA on the show. I just ain't talking about that shit on Twitter no more. The Twitter discourse. Twitter is a bad place. X, whatever you want to call it. Twitter is a bad place. I ain't starting to realize that. And I know I say that every show, damn near. Twitter is a bad place. Twitter is just a miserable place, yo. I'm telling you. I'm noticing that I spend more time on TikTok nowadays than I do on Twitter, because Twitter is nothing funny usually on Twitter. Like, you got to search hard to find something funny on Twitter nowadays. All Twitter is negativity, haters, porn. That's about it. Amateur porn, left and right. That's about all it is, yo. That's it. And I'm going to tell y'all something else that's disgusting to me, man. And I'm not talking about disgusting as in, oh, that's nasty, but it is nasty work. Yo. People idolizing porn stars, bro. Like, porn stars getting their own platforms and stuff like y'all making porn stars rich. Think about that, bro. Y'all OnlyFans models and stuff. Y'all making them rich. Y'all complaining about money, complaining about things being expensive, and paying OnlyFans stars, porn stars. That's crazy. And I also don't like that they call porn stars, yo. Call them porn people or something, man. They ain't stars, yo. They are not actors and actresses. You would not put them motherfuckers in movies. Now, I know porn stars done been in movies here or there, but it ain't to play no big role like the actor, nothing like that. It's probably to be eye candy in a movie. But I'm not here to, shit on porn stars or nothing like that. I'm just saying. It's crazy, the idolization of a porn star in OnlyFans models nowadays. Y'all really making them rich. Y'all making it so they ain't got to do shit but get naked for y'all. That's crazy. That's crazy. But anyways, the Clippers also signed dude to a 2-year deal. What is his name? Kevin. He used to play for the Rockets. I cannot remember his name at the moment for some reason. I don't want to talk about the incident that he had because I'm not really into that. And that's something that happened in the past. I know it's a lot of people who every time they talk about him, that's what they're going to bring up. I get it. I'm not the type of person who's going to bring up somebody's worst mistake in life every single time I talk about them, especially if they putting in the work to try to become a different person, to try to change negative actions or bad actions. That's something that I realize a lot in today's society. We keep talking about forgiving people and giving people second chances. Really what you mean is, if I like you, I'll give you a second chance. If you do things that make me laugh or to make me feel comfortable, I'll give you a second chance. But if you're just a random person, then no, you don't get second. That's crazy to me. I don't condone hitting women. I'm not finna tell you that he did anything right or that he wasn't wrong in that situation. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, and I'm not even specifically just talking about, I think his name Kevin Porter. I'm not just specifically talking about him. This is just for anybody. Like, if they not repeat offenders, because listen, while it's easy to say, oh, he should have never hit that woman in his life. Listen, I wasn't in that room. And while I understand we say it's nothing that should condone hitting women or yada, 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 that's just not reality. It's not. That's not the reality we live in. There are buttons that can be pushed that will make men hit women. Am I telling you that's right? Absolutely not. But that's the reality. So when I hear people say, yo, it's no reason you should ever hit a woman, that's a nice little fairy tale to live in. But we know that's not the case. We know it's not. Matter of fact, I can get on. Listen. Now, one thing I'm never going to agree with, but it's something that we know happens. This is why I don't really pay attention when people say that type of quote, because people say that quote and then you'll go to the comment section, see a whole bunch of people in the comment section and be like, well, what did she do to make him mad? Because it's always somebody who wants to play devil's advocate. I don't know why people love taking up that role, but people love playing devil's advocate, yo. But the point of this is, I'm not here to judge Kevin, or I hope that's his name. I'm not here to judge him. I'm not here to bring up his situation every single time it's talked about. Now, let's say he do something like that again. Then you got me. Well, actually, you don't got me, because it's not that I'm condoning it. I just don't want to talk about it every time I'm talking about him. But if he do it again, yeah, I guess everybody got the right to continuously talk about it. But I'm just not that type of person. I don't understand what it do for the show or what it do for me or to the people who watch me talking about Kevin Porter and his mistakes in life. So, you know, that's just me. But the Sparks, matter of fact, I don't even think I'm going to talk about it because I can't remember my girl's name at the moment, yo. Zoe, I can't remember. I think it's... The Sparks released a player on their birthday, and I cannot remember her name at the moment because I got so many names coming around. She went on our bench players. Either way, they released on her birthday. That was fucked up. They couldn't have released her a day before or the week after. Like, come on, man. That's crazy. That's why every time people be trying to defend organizations and shit, I be like, bro, these organizations is as heartless as y'all. I was going to say something real crazy. They is heartless as y'all ridiculous ass stands and fans, but nonetheless, Klay Thompson he signed and trade. A sign and trade happened to send Klay Thompson to the Dallas Mavericks. I'm pretty sure anybody who followed the Klay Thompson things over the last year, I saw a lot of people say that Klay not going nowhere. Klay not going. They wouldn't trade Klay, but I knew Klay would not be a Warrior by when the season started up again next year. So when the season ended this year, I knew Klay would probably be on a different team. And I'm seeing a lot of people on Twitter, and I don't really know why this is a thing that happens all the time. Immediately when a player that you like either get cut or no longer on the same team or something, it's immediately, oh, the organization did them wrong. And I don't even know if it's just that people like people at this point when they use that excuse, because when Baker Mayfield was released or traded or whatever, people kept saying he was done dirty. And it don't matter how many times I look through Baker's tenure in Cleveland, he was not done dirty. But for some reason, people keep saying he was done dirty. I don't understand that. Like, sometimes, you know who I think was done dirty? Calvin Johnson. He put his body on the line for that sorry-ass Detroit team every year and got nothing in return for it, basically. And when he was ready to retire because he knew they wouldn't trade him and he knew he didn't want to, he no longer wanted to put his body on the line and be hurt every year for nothing, basically, they asked him to give money back in a contract. That's being done dirty. Cleveland did not do Baker Mayfield dirty. And I do not agree with people who say that Klay Thompson was done dirty. Like, I see this big crowd of people who think Klay Thompson was done dirty, and how? Like, Klay Thompson was paid a great contract. I believe it was a max when he signed his extension with the Warriors, and then proceeded to miss the next 2 years. Season-ending injuries for 2 years straight. The Warriors didn't take back any money from him. The Warriors didn't try to trade him. The Warriors didn't do him dirty when he was hurt. They let him take his time, get healthy. They kept paying him, and they tried to find a way to survive without him. I didn't hear anybody say, oh, the Warriors really hurt right now because Klay keep getting hurt, but they paying him this type of money. Oh, they're a good organization. I never heard that. But for some reason, now it's, oh, Klay was done dirty. How? Like I said, they didn't take any money back from him when he got hurt those 2 years. When he came back that third year out of shape, they didn't take money from him. Klay Thompson never got back to being the Klay Thompson before the injuries. He never got back to anything close to the Klay Thompson before the injuries. Not to mention, the peak of Klay Thompson only was like a 3-year span, if that. Now, you can argue that the injuries abruptly ended his prime, the prime of his career. However, that is not Golden State's fault. Golden State is still, you know, it's funny that we say this, but at the end of the day, it's still a business. And I believe that Golden State really does love Klay Thompson. They have a lot of respect for Klay Thompson and everything he done for this organization. But how long do you use that as a basis to excuse Klay? Now, listen, maybe Klay just no longer was a fit for the Warriors based off of how Klay plays and how the Warriors play in the direction they're trying to go in. Who knows? But Klay Thompson with Golden State the last couple years, to say he's been done dirty, I don't know about that one. I feel as though the Warriors took great care of Klay Thompson over the last couple years. This is the thing. I understand everybody want to love Klay because I feel like it's some weird ass hatred going on for Steph Curry. Like the world, like a lot of people hate Steph Curry because of his run that he had where he was just beating all y'all favorite teams, beating LeBron in the finals. It wasn't supposed to be Curry to a lot of people. It was supposed to be Kevin Durant. It was supposed to be Kawhi Leonard. It was supposed to be some other person that y'all revered and loved so much. And I see so many people say stuff like, oh, well, you know, Curry couldn't have done what he did without Klay. And I see a lot of people overhype Klay's career. And I'm not here to shit on Klay Thompson. I'm not. But every time I hear people say, like, Klay could have been better without Steph, or Klay was the actual better player, I don't even understand those type of things. For one, Klay is a catch and shooter. That is what he has been for the majority, if not all, of his career. He had that 3-year span where he was a 3 guy and he could defend your best player. Outside of those two things, what else did Klay, what other part of Klay's game was impressive? Sometimes Klay went to the low block and was able to hit a shot over a lower guy. Sometimes Klay did hit shots from the mid-range, but the majority of Klay's game was launching threes. Not even good threes at times, but we accepted it because he would hit them. And that's how their offense ran at the time. But Klay Thompson never improved his game to the point where he could always put the ball on the floor and go get a bucket. Klay Thompson didn't improve his game to where he became a legitimate mid-range threat to get people off of him from the three. Klay Thompson never became a threat outside of just keep a body in front of him because we don't think he can put the ball on the floor. We don't think he can do anything else offensively aside from catch and shoot. Yet, a lot of people would have you believe Steph Curry, the way Steph played is actually how Klay played. And that's just not the case. A lot of people will have you believe that it's because of Klay that Steph became what he became. That's just not the case. I say it all the time. I've never seen a superstar like Steph Curry. Well, you know what? Lamar Jackson. But I've never seen a star like Steph who done so much in his career, even to a higher point than Lamar, because he done won 4 chips. Constantly be questioned. His greatness constantly be questioned, or people always have something to say about his greatness. Somebody always have somebody else to give credit to for Steph's greatness. It's one of the reasons I get irritated with the talk around the NBA, especially when it comes to fans, because fans don't respect championships because they're a bunch of dipshits. And they want to find ways, and they love stats that don't matter and things of that nature. That's why you see people trying to put LeBron in the GOAT conversation every 2 seconds. Because championships to them is something that they can't win a conversation with. So they resort to things that don't really matter. And so I'm not telling you that people try to overhype Klay like they do with LeBron's career at times. And that's no shot at LeBron. I just don't think LeBron is the GOAT. Like, people used to talk about, oh, he went to non-finals. Did he win non-finals? Like, what are we doing? Like, things that did not matter before, people started trying to make matter when it came to LeBron because he couldn't win the GOAT debate against Michael Jordan with the regular things that we talk about making you the GOAT. But another thing that's, matter of fact, I'll get to the LeBron thing in a second, but when it comes to Klay, I just feel as though because people feel like he's such a likable, lovable guy, that he done been excused throughout his career for multiple things. Especially the second half of his career where he got those injuries, but came back a lesser than player. Nobody cared that he came back a lesser than player. The problem is he no longer was nearly the productive player that the Warriors needed. Nowhere near. He became as productive as a guy coming off the bench, and in times, not even as productive as a great bench 6-man. So, the Warriors didn't do Klay dirty. It was just that time. If Klay didn't want to accept the role coming off of the bench, which he didn't, I mean, we saw what Klay went through all year. And listen, I'm not here to attack Klay. I understand I understand what Klay is feeling. Have I ever been in Klay's shoes? No. But I know I can imagine what it's like to be great at something and no longer be great at it because of an external force, injuries. Somebody, like, I get it. And then being on a team that you done been with, that you done so much for, seeing them pay other guys who you feel as though haven't done nearly what you've done for the organization, i.e. Jordan Poole. I get all of that. However, those other things were not Klay's race. Klay's race was his own race. Klay should have ran his own race. And because Klay kept looking over at other people while they was running their race being rewarded, this is why Klay now find himself in Dallas. I'm almost certain Klay wanted to finish his career in Golden State alongside Steph and Dre. But Klay could not get to, I don't feel as though Klay ever mentally got to the space that he needed to get to in order to play with the Warriors for the remainder of his career. Klay could not accept that he was no longer the Klay Thompson that helped the Warriors win all those championships. Hell, the fourth ring they won, Klay didn't play the role that people tried to make it out to seem that he played. That's just the reality. Jordan Poole was a bigger factor in the Warriors' fourth championship than Klay. But if you go through the entire Warriors run, this is why it's weird when I hear people say Klay got done dirty or the Warriors. I'm not taking back anything that Klay ever did for the Warriors. I'm not trying to minimize Klay's accomplishments with the Warriors. I'm not trying to minimize Klay's time with the Warriors. I can make an argument that more other players had bigger impacts in those rings than Klay Thompson in the finals. Now, the season, getting to the finals and all that, yeah, Klay played a good role. But I can make an argument. There's other players on the Warriors teams throughout that 4 championship run that had bigger impacts on them actually completing the goal than Klay. But Klay never got talked about in that light. If Steph struggled, if Dre struggled, if KD struggled, it was all over the news. You never saw them talk about when Klay struggled. As a matter of fact, the media was so nice to Klay. It was really last year when they started to talk about Klay's struggles, and Klay started giving them his ass. Like he started, you saw the Klay interviews throughout the year telling people, y'all broke at the end of the day. I'm still a champ. Like, it got to Klay. Now, I don't think Klay is a bad person. I think he is a terrible teammate in his latter years of the Warriors organization. But I'm not going to let that define Klay Thompson for what he was throughout his career, because I understand Klay is going through. See, that's the thing. As much as I talk about Klay and the things that I say might make it seem as though I don't like Klay Thompson or something like that, that's not it. I view his career in the correct framework. I don't overhype him. But also, I do understand that when you are a great player. Now, I've never thought that Klay Thompson was better than James Harden, but it was a thing going around where it was him and James Harden. People was like, who is better? Just to be in that conversation at the time and to now be what Klay has become basically because of the injuries, I get it. I get it. He had his prime stolen from him, but Klay is not the first player and won't be the last player to have their best years stolen from him. It is what it is. Brandon Roy, Greg Oden. I mean, we done seen so many great players robbed of their primes of their careers or before they even got a chance to enter their primes. Klay Thompson got to play a full career before injuries start to take over. Klay Thompson having a problem with the Warriors and how, listen, I'm not in the Warriors organization. Who knows what personally behind the scenes and things that happen. I'm just speaking on the things that we could see publicly. Publicly, I don't understand where Klay could have the problem. Because if I'm being honest, Klay is the one that looked like the problem more than the Warriors. And I'm going to get to the Warriors because they're not clean in all of this. But when it comes to dealing with Klay, I don't know what else they could have done better, to be honest with you. Like, a lot of teams would have tried to move off of Klay after those injuries. Immediately after that first injury he healed up, people would have tried to move. And then when he got hurt in practice, tore his ACL or his when he took the other season-ending injury in practice after healing up from the previous one, a lot of teams would have wrote his obituary right there. The Warriors still gave him a chance to come back and be Klay Thompson. Now, while a lot of people may feel like, specifically the Warriors, they might feel like, we just lost somebody we didn't want to lose. The reality is Steve Kerr has a better chance to be a better head coach, even though I think Steve Kerr is a great head coach, one of the great head coaches in the NBA of all in history. But he could even be better now. Now, I know it's weird to say that because you're like, well, he just lost Klay Thompson. Have you seen Klay play the last 3 years? To say they can't replace Klay's production would just be asinine. They can replace Klay's production. That's not the problem. Steve Kerr couldn't make certain coaching moves because he didn't want to piss Klay off. Klay was not the team player that Steph, Dre, and Steve needed him to be in the latter parts of his career. That's all right. It's over now. They can only reminisce on what was great, what was good. It's no point in even thinking about how Klay ended his time with Golden State. That's what people like me to talk about. The Warriors, they'll probably never talk about it. They'll just be appreciative of everything that Klay did for him. And he'll have a statue out there. Now, I don't think Klay should get a singular statue. But I don't think Dre should get a singular statue. I think if a singular statue was going out there, it would be Steph. To me, they have to find a way to erect a statue that's got Dre, Klay, and Steph all. Maybe them sitting down, like erect a statue of them sitting down after winning that 4th championship. Maybe you could even put Andre Iguodala in it. I don't know. He just played a good role in all of the championships, except for really the 4th one. The 4th championship they won, that was more Klay. I mean, that was definitely Steph, Dre, Wiggins, and Jordan Poole, more than it had to do anything with Klay and Iggy. But Klay and Iggy were there for all 4 of them, and obviously both of those dudes played a key role in the first 3. So if you wanted to make a statue with those 4, I don't mind. I don't care if they would make a singular statue for Klay and Dre. I mean, I do understand the roles that they played on this franchise. It'd just be real hard for me to erect a statue of both Klay and Dre for individual statues, unless I don't know, man. If I was naming like a part of the stadium after one of those two, like Draymond Green Avenue or something, maybe I would put a statue right there. But as far as because you could make a better argument for Dre getting a statue than Klay, in my opinion, because Draymond was a defensive player of the year and should have won more defensive player of the years. And the key that he played on the Warriors, to me, is just greater than the role that Klay played. Klay, yes, he had to play great defense for here's my problem. The first 2 times the Warriors won championships, Klay didn't guard the best player all the time. That was Iggy and Dre. The 3rd ring they won, Klay did help off of the best offensive players here and there. But it still wasn't the role that Andre and Dre played. Not to mention, as good as Klay is scoring-wise, Klay really did not improve. I know we still talk about Game 6 Klay or Game 7 Klay, whatever game it is, Klay, that we talk about. Yeah, that shit rarely ever showed up in the finals. Now, I'm not hating on Klay, and I'm not telling you he was terrible in the finals, but what I am telling you is I can name a lot of other Warriors that played bigger roles for the Warriors winning than Klay Thompson. At no point in time in any of the Warriors championship runs was Klay Thompson going to win MVP of the finals. Not once did people think Klay was going to win MVP of the finals. Not once. Draymond Green could have possibly won it after the first finals. In no finals did you think Klay Thompson was the MVP of the finals. So, while I do understand that they are about to lose a player who they have a strong emotional connection with, I still think that they can improve from Klay Thompson. Now, it'll be real kick in the nuts if Klay Thompson returned to form with Dallas. I don't imagine that Klay Thompson will still be now, this would be interesting because Klay haven't played in a system outside of Golden State. He's been with Golden State his entire career. Now you go to a team where it's a lot of dribbling between Luka and Kyrie, and you are undoubtedly the 3rd man or the 4th, 5th man on some nights. That's depending on how you shoot. Now, I know Klay and Luka and Kyrie, I imagine, will do everything in their power to make Klay Thompson comfortable because he is a 4-time champion and he is going to be a revered player around the league. Like, he is an accomplished player. So I imagine they'll do everything in their power to try to make it a big 3 to where Klay is, getting his shots. However, defensively, I still got a lot of questions about Dallas. I don't know what Dallas will be defensively because when they played against a team like the Boston Celtics, which is the barometer of which I judge a team off of now, you got your asses kicked in, bro. You got slapped all around the court, damn near every game. It felt like Boston let you win one at home so they could celebrate on their own courts. So, yeah, Dallas can continue to make these offensive improvements, but to me, they got to decide to want to play defense too. They have to bring in players to help them defensively. It's no two ways around it. You got to at least have two. And the thing is, Kyrie and Luka are on the floor a lot at the same time. It's only 5 dudes that can be on the court at once. Luka and Kyrie are not good defenders. Some would say they are liabilities defensively. That leaves you with 3 guys on the floor. Klay Thompson will probably now be one of your starters. Klay Thompson is no longer the defender he was. He is nowhere near as bad as Luka and Kyrie, but he is not an elite defender anymore. So now you have, I'm not going to put him in a category with Luka and Kyrie, but he ain't the defender that he used to be. Some nights he just not there defensively. Like, Klay is not that 3-year span defensive Klay that he once was. The injuries caught up. So you essentially have 3 guys on the floor who cannot really lock guys or play good defense for you that prevent the other team from going crazy. So, you know, it'll be interesting to see Dallas, because if other teams have scoring, but they also have the defensive. Also, I think Minnesota will be better next year, even though I'm still not a fan of Minnesota having Karl and Gobert on the floor at the same time. They made it work to the best of their ability this year, but I don't know how far that'll get them. But I'm still not like, and I saw people say about Dallas today. They were like, yo, Dallas got to be the favorite to come out of the West next year because they came out of the West this year. Yo, every year is a different year. This is not a Steph Curry, Golden State Warriors with KD super team. This is nobody is for sure coming out of the West every year. I mean, if you look at it, Dallas ain't even the type of team that the Celtics are, where you could confidently say the Celtics will probably come out of the Eastern next year. Because you look at the Celtics roster, and that's a great roster. Dallas does not have the roster that the Celtics have. But Klay Thompson is a good addition, I think, especially if he can. I don't see Klay getting back to the prime Klay, but if Klay can just become a consistent shooter in the big games, because big games he seemed to just not be there nowadays. I still think Klay got something left in the tank. I just think how he expected the Warriors to treat him, even though to me they didn't treat him dirty, was just too much. It was time for it, because the Warriors could do nothing more. Like, it's Warrior fans that's mad because they offer more money for Klay and he turned it down. But Klay wanting a max contract from the Warriors is just ridiculous. And I know it'll be people out there who be like, well, look at all he did for the Warriors. He deserves a max contract. Agree to disagree. I don't agree with that. You do. So we just going to have to agree to disagree on this subject. I do want to talk about the Warriors, though, outside of Klay Thompson, because now the Warriors are in a terrible spot. The Warriors wanted to do a sign and trade with the Clippers in order to bring over Paul George. They did not get the deal done because the Clippers didn't want to take it. There's a lot of things going on. I think the Clippers, listen, if you watch the show, if you don't watch the show, been a Laker fan my whole life, so I go at the Clippers a lot. But I done said it before, and it's not even me being a Laker fan just going at the Clippers. The Clippers run a bad organization. It's just they run a bad organization the entire time I done been alive. I understand they done had good moments. The Lob City. If you want to call any of the years with Paul George and Kawhi good moments, they had those. But outside of that, and some of the early ones with Corey Maggette and those dudes, but outside of that, this is not a great run franchise. One of the ways you know a franchise is being ran properly is when the window is hot, when the stove is hot, when the window is open for them to strike. What moves do they make to get better? What moves do they make to offload players who don't necessarily provide for them what they need in order to get to the next level? What moves do the team make in preparation of next year or the future years? Like, I feel as though winning teams, they understand how to operate on a year-to-year basis. Now, this is a little bit different in the NBA now, because some of the winning teams that you think of is the Lakers, the Warriors. They don't actually run their organizations like a winning team do right now. Whereas you look at a team like Miami, I don't really like how Miami's player develop. I don't like how they feel as though these bum players will get them over the hump, but they do run a great organization. The Boston Celtics, teams that have aspirations to win a championship, look at what they are doing to try to win a championship. The Milwaukee Bucks could have got rid of Chris Middleton. They refused to. It's just multiple things that Boston Celtics, people kept saying, get rid of, break up Tatum and Brown. They finally reaped the rewards of that. So just look at what some organizations are doing to be a good organization, and then look at some of the teams that continuously fall short. Look at what they are doing. Now, just because you run a good organization does not guarantee you to win a championship, but it do put you on the right path. And when you look at the Clippers, I don't understand what the moves for the Clippers have been the last couple. It don't feel like they've been trying to build a team rather than trying to stockpile a lot of good players to try to overwhelm teams to win a championship. And it just hasn't worked. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, I'm not going to give them any type of backlash for that. That's a great decision to try to bring those two players together. Two top wings in the NBA. They both play defense. They both play defense at the highest of levels, and they both can score. They both is game-changing players in a lot of people's eyes, even though some people will say that PG is not. Both players are, top 10, top 15 players in the NBA currently. When they both got signed, I feel like they were both top 10 players. That's a great move. But it's the moves that you make around them. I like the Ty Lue head coach. Now, I know a lot of people not sold on Ty Lue. They feel like LeBron won that championship. I'm not going to do that to every single head coach that went under LeBron James. I think Ty Lue is a good head coach. I think Ballmer is a good owner. But it's just so many bad moves that have been made. And then it's moves that might have been good moves, but it's just bad in bad taste. Like what you did to Blake Griffin. You got Blake Griffin to re-sign with the Clippers because you didn't want to lose him for nothing. And you probably knew that you were going to eventually trade him. You trade him, a year or two into his new contract to Detroit. You should have known you were never going to win with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. For a dude like Blake Griffin to give everything he did to that organization and probably wanted to leave and chose against it. You hung his Raptors in his jersey in the rafters to say one day your jersey going to be hanging up there. And then you trade him to Detroit. Not to another California team. Not to a team he wanted to go to Detroit. And you watch his career just die out. It's just a lot of moves that the Clippers have made. What was the point of bringing in James Harden? James Harden and Russell Westbrook. To me, it's just a lot of moves being made by this team that make no sense to me. But now, when you are offered young players that could help you get this franchise to where it needs, this is what I'm saying. You let Paul George walk for nothing. You traded away a fortune to get Paul George. And now what you have to show for it is a season, 3-4 seasons full of injuries. But you wouldn't trade him to Golden State for Kuminga and other assets. In what reality does that make sense? Considering what they get. I just want people to understand. One of the players and the biggest thing that they lost when they gave away Paul George, and they lost a lot when they traded for Paul George. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was a Clipper who they traded to OKC. Shai just finished second in MVP. You just lost Paul George for nothing. How does that make any sense? Oh, we don't want to take on extra cap and yada, yada, yada. Bro, you could have Kuminga for the next decade. So, I'm not understanding the Clippers. Actually, I don't care to understand the Clippers. I do understand the Clippers, actually. They've been running this organization like this the entire time. It's been an organization. It don't matter if it's Donald Sterling. It don't matter if it's Steve Ballmer. They just make a lot of doofus-ass decisions. And letting Paul George walk when you could have done a sign and trade. And the reports were Paul George wanted to be a Warrior. He wanted to be traded to the Warriors, and the Clippers wouldn't do it. They just rather released him or let him walk for nothing. When organizations feel like they in a position to make dumbass decisions like that, that should solidify to you why they are who they are. Every year for the past 4 years, people have had the Clippers as one of the top teams to win an NBA championship. And every year, they find new ways to disappoint you even worse than they did the previous year. Kawhi Leonard was rarely available, if ever, for any of this playoff run during that tenure. Paul George missed an entire playoff run. To say that this was nothing short of a failure of an experiment for the Clippers would be an understatement. And I do think it was ways that they could have put together a better team, but the reality is they didn't. And so this is what you're left with. But to bow out and to not trade Paul George for anything, that's disgusting behavior. But I do want to hop back to the Warriors because I'm not done. I said at the time, when Joe Lacob and Peter Gruber, all them dudes was talking about we smarter than every other team, we light years ahead. I said at the time, it is stupid, it is dumb, it makes no sense to be trying to prepare for the future when you have Steph Curry right now. And when they decided to draft James Wiseman, Kuminga, and all these other guys, rather than trade those high draft picks in order to bring over players that could help right now have Steph Curry win more championships, I said it was a mistake, and I said ultimately they would pay for it because to try to nurture and take care of two different timelines at the same time made no sense. A lot of fans kept blaming Steve Kerr. And I kept saying, Steve Kerr did not come to the Warriors to nurture and grow rookie players. He came to get everything he could out of Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green. And eventually he realized, I'm trying to get everything I can out of Steph Curry's career. That's the timeline that Steve Kerr has been on. Every time he speak, listen to what he say. He has not been shy. He is trying to get everything out of Steph Curry. Even though he feels as though the team has not done Steph Curry a service since KD left. Just listen to how he speak. That's a coach who know they done put far too much on Steph Curry's plate. As a matter of fact, he done said it multiple times. And now you take a step back. The organization that said it was light years ahead of everybody else. And look at the team that you now put on the floor on a nightly basis. The Warriors kept refusing to trade away these young rookies who Steve Kerr clearly did not want on the team. And this is not a shot at Steve Kerr. I know this is going to make it seem like because some people don't like Steve Kerr. I love Steve Kerr. And I agree with Steve Kerr. Those young dudes should have never been on this Warriors team. Think about it. This Warriors team was a team filled with vets. The youngest guys were Curry, Dre, and Klay. Everybody else were vets. They had great vets coming off the bench. Think about the last championship they won. The only young guy that really played a role was Jordan Poole, who they had already had for like 3 years and was nurturing and getting better. That's a more fair timeline for Steve Kerr to have to work with. To tell Steve Kerr, I need you to get this rookie, and that rookie all up to par so they could take over this team when Dre and Klay and them leave, is crazy. When all Steve Kerr wanted to do was get Steph Curry to where Steph needed to be. All he wanted to do was make sure Steph won as much as possible. To try to get him to take care of all these other rookies while trying to win a championship with a win now player is insanity. And nobody called the Warriors out on it. People kept going by the result. And this is why I always say you should never accept in victory what you wouldn't accept in defeat. Because if all you do is win, but you win in ways that you would never accept if you lost, then what are we doing? We can't tell you nothing because you keep winning ignorantly, but you keep winning. And so the crash out is the only thing that's going to teach you something. The Warriors kept getting passes for how they ran this organization because Steph kept saving them. He got him that last championship. But look at the team. Mind you, look at the team that they won a championship with most recently. Wiggins ain't a young guy. He younger than a lot of dudes, but he is a vet. You have vets on the bench. And now look at the difference in those teams. The formula has been very clear on what Steve Kerr needs to win. But look at what they forced him to work with. And all I hear is, oh, Steve Kerr don't know what he's doing. Steve Kerr don't know what he's doing. Yeah, Steve Kerr randomly now don't know what he's doing. All the championship teams and as a player and a coach he done been a part of, randomly he now don't know what he doing. The Warriors need to sit down and have a reset. Because essentially what you are doing is wasting the rest of Steph Curry's career. You have now wasted, 2 years of his late career, last year and the year before? I mean, he's still giving you crazy work, crazy production. And this is what you are giving him in return. This is why it's no shocker to me every time I hear Steve Kerr speak out against the Warriors and the things that they are doing and the pressure that they done put on Steph Curry to carry this organization. This is why I get irritated with fans. Because you look at LeBron James. He got help. KD got help. Kyrie got help. All these players who y'all like to love and you keep hating on Steph. Who is got Steph's back? Who is Steph relying on? Nobody. He relying on himself. This is why I don't like this weird hatred that Steph Curry had when he had KD. I didn't see this hatred when it's like Jeff Teague said. He didn't hate Steph Curry. I mean, he didn't hate KD for going to Steph. He hated LeBron because LeBron is the one who kicked all of it off. Now, I know a lot of people say, well, actually, Boston kicked it off. But those players didn't just go to play together. The Boston Celtics brought them together. LeBron James decided to go play with his homies. And I got no problem with that. But before you try to say, oh, these players need super teams, LeBron has always won with a super team. But people like to act as if he just won by himself for some reason. It makes no sense anyways. Or either way. The Warriors are in a ugly spot right now. And I know Steph Curry is not going to request a trade, and that is just a real shame. Because to sit around and watch this, Mike Dunleavy traded Jordan Poole last year for Chris fucking Paul. How in what world is that a good trade? I said it at the time. And I understand how much they needed Jordan Poole gone from this team. I understand it was probably no fixing it or rehabilitating the situation. To trade him for Chris Paul is crazy. You essentially gave him away for nothing because Chris Paul is no longer on the team either. And Chris Paul did nothing for you last year. Mike Dunleavy moves. Now, some people will say, well, he had to do something. You could have sat on Jordan Poole. You could have sat on him and had him come out there and forced him to play another year with the Warriors and got his stock up. You didn't have to trade him for Chris Paul. I refuse to believe that Jordan Poole's... his trade value probably was shot, but it wasn't that shot to where you had to trade for not only a bad contract in Chris Paul, but trade for a player who essentially was hurt all year. You wouldn't trade away Andrew Wiggins, even though Andrew Wiggins for the last 2 years done decided to just leave the team for personal issues in the midst of playoff runs. Not even in the midst of. During the toughest parts of the season where they needed him, he was not there. Draymond Green. You know I love Draymond. Continue to find ways to take himself off the court. Klay Thompson was not the same Klay Thompson since the injury. Yet, the one constant that you have had out there with the Warriors that fill up your fucking stadium every time you have a game is Steph Curry. And now Steph Curry is going out like Kobe did in the back end of his career. No help, no talent around him, just him and his coach. And Kobe didn't even have that at the end of his career. It's a real shame. I don't want to see Klay. I don't want to see Steph and Steve Kerr or Draymond, but mostly Steph and Steve Kerr. I don't want to see them go through these ugly years. Because this is not where both of these two are supposed to be. And I don't like it when organizations ruin coaches and players' years. Steve Kerr is a championship caliber coach. Steph Curry is a championship caliber player. They both still got a lot left in the tank. Both of them went through a lot to get to this moment. Steve Kerr dealing with all the back injuries. Steph Curry dealing with all the ankle injuries. For them to get themselves to this moment right here and basically have no positive outlook on what could happen, just having the hope that Steph Curry go nuclear once again, and hopefully that's enough to get us into the play-in. Yeah, that's pathetic. That's absolutely pathetic. You know, I say that I always talk about how Rob done ran the Lakers. At least he did go out and get LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Now, you can say whatever you want to about Anthony Davis and what it's done been like since having him, but at least he went out and got another superstar to pair beside LeBron James to make sure LeBron wasn't having to do it by himself. Now, have LeBron James, has AD become what they needed him to become with LeBron? No. They thought LeBron would have handed this off to AD because AD could go out there every night and be the man. That's not the case. AD cannot be the man. However, Steph Curry is the man, and he done been out there, and he ain't asking you to not be the man. He just need help. So, it's unfortunate if you a Steph Curry fan, if you're Steph Curry. If you're a Warrior fan, you really finna be going through it right now. I saw people trying to blame Draymond as to why this is all happening. This is not Draymond's fault. This is mismanagement by the organization. This is Bob Myers, Joe Lacob, Peter Gruber, Mike Dunleavy. This is mismanagement of an organization because you had so many good days that you let your vision got blurred and you didn't prepare. You weren't light years ahead of everybody else because you haven't done anything for Steph Curry since KD. I say it all the time about Lamar. Who have the Ravens brought in offensively to help Lamar? Not people that Lamar can make better. Who have they brought in that can make Lamar better? I ask the same with the Warriors. Since Kevin Durant, who have the Warriors brought in that can make Curry better? Not who can Curry make better. Who can they bring in that makes the game easier for Curry? The Warriors have not been willing to go above and beyond to do that. Now, this is what I always find funny about owners. Steph Curry done made the Warriors into a multi-billion-dollar organization. He done lined the pockets of the investors, of the owners, all the dudes who in the business side of things. Steph Curry done made them rich for generations. And now they don't want to spend money. You see how that works? This is why I will never tell a player to take a pay cut. Because Steph Curry done everything he done for the Warriors. It's not the accolades and all the championships. It's the money he done put directly in the pockets of those owners. And now they don't want to spend money to get him help. Oh, well, Saint, they tried to get Paul George. It's not just Paul George. It's multiple things the Warriors could have done to put themselves in a better position. And I keep saying themselves. It's multiple things the Warriors could have done to put Steph Curry in a better position. Because that's what we do. We don't say the Lakers put themselves in better. We say they need to put LeBron in better position. We don't say teams with superstars need to put themselves in better position. They need to put Giannis in a better position. They need to put Ja in better position. They need to put Jimmy in better position. We don't say the team because we understand if they got a great player, you want that great player to get the most out of their career while they can play the game. And the Warriors announced, and I understand people will say, well, look at what they did before. We're not living in the past, brother. It's the future. Steph Curry is still great right now. He need help right now. He ain't got time to be reminiscing about what they did in the past. I'm not sorry yet. I'm not retired yet. I'm not a liability. I'm still one of the top 5 players in this league. I can still lead a team to a championship. Get me help. So I feel bad for the Warriors or for Steph and for the fans because this was supposed to be the team that was light years ahead of everybody else. I could honestly make an argument that the best move that the Warriors done made over the past couple years was letting Klay walk. Because it would have made no sense to bring him back just because you liked him on a crazy contract. But if you're a Warrior fan, it ain't looking good. The 76ers signed Paul George to a 4-year max contract. I saw a lot of people had a problem with this contract. A lot of people weren't happy. They was like, Paul George should not be getting this type of contract. He ain't played enough games to get this type of contract. This is what I will say. Stay out of people's pockets. You are worth what somebody is willing to pay you. I cannot say that enough. Now, I love Paul George. He's one of my favorite players to watch in the NBA. But I do understand. It's so much negativity to go around about Paul George, man. I be seeing more people go at Paul George than like take up for Paul George, but that's neither here nor there. I like the move of Paul George to the Sixers. My only concern or cause for pause would be the health. Paul George done been banged up a lot over the last couple years. Like, I don't know if he done played a full season or anywhere near a full season the last couple years. Joel Embiid is hurt every fucking year when the playoffs come around. Maxey seemed like the only guy who I can rely on to be healthy. And it feels like the entire conversation or anything that I say about the Sixers right now, it would be completely dependent on health. Like, I like the 76ers and I like what they could throw at Boston, even though I do still think Boston is the better team. I do think the biggest threats on Boston, you could figure out how to, because Maxey is not a lockdown defender to me, but you could put Maxey on Jaylen Brown and you could do some things. I don't know if that would work for an entire game, but you could definitely put PG on Jason Tatum and slow him down because PG is still a great defender. However, it feel like as much as I like the move, because I do like Paul George going to Philly, I don't know if I actually like it I don't know if I like it because of the fit, because of Paul George, or because I don't know if I should like it. Let me put it like that. With two players who stay hurt like Embiid and Paul George, I don't know if I should like this trade or this signing. I don't know if this, because on paper you say if they healthy, boy, this team could cause some problems. As a matter of fact, the only team that I'm thinking of right now off the top of my head in the Eastern Conference, who I would take over the Sixers would probably be Boston, even though if Embiid is healthy, man, you got a big problem with Joel Embiid trying to stop that big motherfucker. But I just know he's not going to be healthy. Like, I know Joel won't be healthy when the playoffs come around because he's never healthy when the playoffs come around. And it seems as though Joel Embiid has not figured out. This is the thing that's weird to me about Joel, because I know Joel can be dominant down low, but Joel is not really a back-to-the-basket center. He play more of a perimeter-oriented game, kind of like Cat. He just can go down low and use his size when he need to. If Joel Embiid, and I say this like every year, if the man just lost 50 fucking pounds or something, bro, to make it easy to, you can't be that big running around at that size all the time and expect to stay healthy. You just can't. We done seen it too many times. Like, would it have been great if he had the success that Shaq had, if he had stayed healthy for as long as Shaq was able to stay healthy to win? Sure. But he ain't. Not to mention, I don't think he the athlete that Shaq was back in the day. Shaq was a freak athlete. But Joel Embiid being as big as he is, having to run up and down the court and do what they need him to do. I mean, he might not even be a dunker no more at this point because of his knees. I don't understand why people haven't told him, Joe, you can still be a great big man and dominant and still lose weight, bro. Clearly your knees is begging you to lose weight. Clearly you can't sustain this level of play at this weight because you get hurt every year. So as much as I do like the Paul George signing, I don't really know how to feel about it yet because I know Joel ain't going to stay healthy. And at this point, you kind of know PG not going to stay healthy. Now, to me, PG's health problem is not as big, which it probably should be because he have been hurt every year with the Clippers. To me, the bigger problem would be in the clutch. Like, Paul George in big games, I love Paul, but I understand the numbers and the eye test. I get it. But, you get PG, Joel Embiid, Maxey, especially with the way Maxey played last year, how he turned that corner. Man, you know what I think? In order for this to be successful, I really think you got to put Joel Embiid on a 50-game limit for the regular season. And maybe that's even too much. But, damn, bro, I just took 30 games off of the season. Because it's 83 games. I took 33 off for him. If you can find a way to get Joel Embiid to play 50 games and space him out throughout the entire season, that's the only chance I think the Sixers have of getting him to the playoffs healthy and having a legitimate chance to win a championship. Because they ain't doing it when he's not healthy. It's just not going to happen. I don't care how many points he scored when he hurt, bro. A hurt Joel Embiid is not taking a team past. You just saw it. The Knicks was able to beat them and he was giving them buckets on one leg. Because it's more than just scoring in the NBA, bro. The fact of the matter is, if Joel Embiid cannot get through a season healthy, They're not going to win with this either. Joel Embiid is young, but PG is 34 now. So PG is trying to win. I really hate that they didn't trade him to the Warriors, because I know he did not want to have to move all the way to Philadelphia with the podcast and all that shit he got. Like, Paul George seemed like his life done been set down. Like, his life after basketball seemed like he was already setting that up, and now you got to move all the way to Philly. But I will say this. If Paul George has success in Philly, he just got one of the fan base in Philly, bro, they going to back you for life if you ball out in Philly. So, really, all you did was add to your numbers already, in all honesty. Plus, think about the people who you can bring on the show now. The Philly athletes that you can bring on the show: Bryce Harper, Zach Wheeler, that's for my baseball people out there. JT Realmuto, Kyle Schwarber, Nicholas Castellanos, Bryson Stott. I mean, you got a lot of studs who you can bring over off of that Philly team. Jason Kelsey, Jalen Hurts. Like, you got Lane Thomas. It's a lot of great Eagles players. Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Darius Slay. Like, Philadelphia, I don't know why I was saying this, Philadelphia Sports. I'm sorry I didn't name any of the hockey players. I don't watch hockey, so sue me. But this could be a great move for Paul George. But it's all dependent on health. And I'm going to just be honest. It's all dependent on health and Joel Embiid's health. Point blank, period. If Joel can't stay healthy, this ain't going to turn out the way people wanted to turn out, or the way we feel like it could turn out. Because I do think that when you look at the 76ers, I mean, I'm looking at the teams in the West, in the Eastern Conference right now. You got the Milwaukee Bucks. You got, I still have a lot of faith in Milwaukee. I don't think it was smart getting rid of Drew Holiday now that I'm looking back on it, because I was completely wrong about Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday is a great player who I did not give enough respect to. But when you look at, I don't know why the Bucks didn't try to keep Drew and see, that's the difference between franchises. This is what I'm saying. Boston. Now, granted, Boston hadn't won a championship with this core of players. The Bucks probably felt like, we won a championship with Drew. We ready to move past that. But boy, when he go to a team and immediately make them a championship team with his impact, I mean, I can't say nothing else, but that's a bad move. It was a bad move. You should have tried to keep Drew with Dame Lillard. Now, also, remember, I don't think Dame Lillard is a championship level type of player. I don't think he's willing to do what it takes to be a champion, in my personal opinion. And it's not necessarily he not willing to do what it takes. I just don't think the way he played the game is championship conducive, personally. However, Dame balled out in the game that he did play in the playoffs. Injuries starting to hit Dame late in his career is tragic. But I don't want to hear nobody try to feel sorry for him, because he could have been left Portland. He could have left Portland a long time ago. And it was even conversation that he regretted leaving Portland during the season last year. He should have just probably kept his ass in Portland. Dame don't really want to win. That's what I started to realize. So, and if he still got this mentality where, man, I shouldn't have left Portland, man, send his ass back. Because Giannis needs somebody who is dedicated to winning, bro, who actually wants to win a championship. And I'm going to be honest with you. If I'm Giannis Antetokounmpo, man, he just signed an extension, so he ain't going nowhere either. And I think that was stupid. I'm be honest. I don't think it was smart signing an extension with Milwaukee. It just wasn't. Now, maybe Giannis will be a Buck his entire career. I think that'll be stupid. I understand people say, market size don't matter. Everybody can make their own platform, yada, yada, yada. If Giannis was in Golden State or LA or Miami or Chicago, do you know how many more endorsements this man would have? Do you know how much more you would see him on the TV screens? Giannis would get ridiculous opportunities if he played for a bigger market. I could not imagine how bigger Giannis could get if he was in LA in that type of market. That's just me personally. But I don't think Giannis will retire a Buck. Or maybe it's not that I don't think he will. Maybe it's just I don't want him to. But I still got faith in the Bucks. I still think the Bucks can put the Bucks still field a great team on the floor. Like, it's not like they don't put a good team on the floor. They just got to get Giannis to stay healthy this year. Giannis the last 2 years got hurt when the playoffs rolled around. It was unfortunate injuries for him. I don't think he is what Joel Embiid is. Because Giannis is not usually hurt throughout the entire season. He got hurt in the play. They're just two freak accidents that happened to him in back-to-back years. But Giannis will be fine. But when I'm looking at the Eastern Conference, you got Milwaukee and Boston. Them really the only two teams I would take over them. I know a lot of people keep saying Miami. Yo, listen. I don't know how Miami was continuously able to overachieve at the rate that they was able to overachieve at and still not end up winning a championship, which I just want to let Miami fans know, as much as I love Jimmy Butler, and I do love Jimmy Buckets, none of the beating the Celtics, none of that matters now, because you didn't win a championship when you beat the Celtics or when you beat the Bucks. You know what just happened with the Celtics? Regardless of how easy they path to the finals might have been, they ended up capturing the championship. Now, I understand some people say, well, we had to play LeBron, and we had to play this team, and we had to play that. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I just want to also point out the two teams that Miami fans constantly brag about beating have both won championships. You brag about beating Boston. Boston just won a chip. You brag about beating Milwaukee. Milwaukee has won a chip. You know who haven't won a chip out of those three teams? The Miami Heat. So I just want Miami fans to know you look like a bunch of fucking dumbasses when you're constantly trying to go at Boston fans or Milwaukee fans. And you might end up watching the 76ers win a championship if the 76ers can stay healthy. I'm going to just put that caveat in there. If the 76ers can stay healthy, I probably would take them over the Sixers. I mean, I probably would take them to come out of the East right now, only because if Joel Embiid is healthy, who the fuck is stopping him now that he got Paul George and Tyrese Maxey? And for Joel Embiid, man, you're really running out of excuses, bro. Like, you done had a lot of help at your disposal. Now it's on you, bro. It's on you. And obviously, Paul got to stay healthy, and Tyrese is usually healthy, so knock on wood. But yeah, the excuse is running out, especially if the entire excuse for your entire career is, oh, Joel Embiid kept getting hurt. Oh, well, he was hurt again. Oh, well, he was hurt again. Oh, you know what? Hurt again. That can't keep being the thing. The last thing I want to touch on the show, Malik Hooker had came out and spoke on Micah Parsons. And he said some things. Basically, you know what I should start doing? When I hop to topics like this where somebody says something, I should insert the clip, shouldn't I? I should insert the clip of what the person said, and then I should talk after the clip. I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to start getting the videos edited to where we insert the clip before I start talking about it, and then I talk about it. I don't know why that's not something I had already done. To be completely honest with you, that just popped up in my head. So I just want you to understand how it's easy to be like, as a human being, we always be like, bro, we busy. But boy, I just want y'all for the second to imagine how busy I am to where that is the first time that thought just popped up in my head. Something like that is so simple. I see it on all videos all the time. And in my head just now, it slowed down enough for me to formulate that thought. So, my brain. But Micah Parsons called out by his teammate, Malik Hooker, for having a podcast saying he might not be focused when the running game struggling and you podcasting, how that look, yada, yada, yada. And Micah Parsons responded in a now deleted tweet where he like, bro, we locker mates. You could have told me this. You got my number. You could have called me. You could have told me this in person. Like, why do you go on a podcast and say this about me? So, now that you got both sides of the story, it's time for mine's. Or it's time for my opinion. Not my side of the story, just my opinion on the matter. I agree with Micah Parsons. That should not be too hard for you to, if you watch me, you already knew who I was about to agree with, because I done spoke on stuff like this. I can't stand it. I can't stand it when teammates go to the media go to analysts, go to a podcast, and speak publicly about a player. I hate it. I can't stand it. That's that Big Ben type shit. Throwing teammates under the buses for no reason. And Big Ben did it because he was the quarterback. Malik Hooker doing it is crazy work. Bro, you're not even a top 5 player. Now listen, you shouldn't have to be a great player to be able to call a player out. I get that. But when you are nowhere near one of the best players on the team, and now Malik Hooker's a great player. Malik Hooker ain't Micah Parsons. So to come to the media, because that's basically what you did when you went on a podcast, because you know that's going to get disseminated to all the media. And to call out your teammate, that's sick work. And I'm going to be honest. He lucky he's still on the team. Because let's not act like Micah Parsons ain't got the power to be like, I don't want to play with him no more. It's me or him. If you want me on this team, he cannot be on this team because I will not play with him. It would be nothing for Micah Parsons to do that. And for Malik Hooker to be looking for a new home. In what is already a great situation. You play for the Dallas Cowboys. You get to play on that beautiful field all the time. No state income taxes. You get to live in Dallas. You're on a Super Bowl contending team. What would inspire you to call out your best player publicly? Now, I know some people, you got some sick weirdo fans out there who say, it ain't no problem with him calling them out publicly. But these are the same people who got a problem when they moms talk to their homies about the stuff that you did growing up. I don't get it. You're hypocrites. You're just straight hypocrites. Straight up. But anyways, what really got me was when Parsons said, you got my number. Okay, that's not what got me because I imagine that he had his number. But when he said, you my locker mate, that means this motherfucker's locker is beside Micah Parsons. They get dressed beside each other. They put on their gear beside each other. They take their gear off beside each other. And you couldn't have told me this to my face. You went on a podcast knowing how that would look and decided to do this. If I'm the head coach of the team, if I'm the GM of the team, I would have cut him that day because why would I want somebody on my team doing something like this? It's supposed to be the team. All for one. It's not all for one when you calling out a teammate like that. Not to mention, you basically said that our run defense is ass and we ain't where we want to be because Micah Parsons doing podcasts. When did all of the running game's struggles fall on just Micah Parsons? Not to mention, bro, what reality are we living in where by far the best player on the team is the one that's getting called out? Because I'm pretty sure a lot of people could call out other players on the Cowboys. I'm pretty sure Micah Parsons could call. Now, granted, Micah Parsons did kind of call out the Cowboys this year. Now, he didn't call them out by name. So I don't see why people would have had a problem with what Micah did. All he was trying to do was hold his teammates accountable. Saying, I don't think some people was prepared as we might have should have been. Things like that. He didn't ever come out and say, I don't think Dak Prescott was as prepared as he needed to be. As a matter of fact, every time he speak on Dak, he defend Dak. So, this is an ugly situation for the Cowboys. Not to mention, Micah Parsons' contract is coming up. There should be it's real funny to me that every time Dallas love having drama surrounding their best players when the contracts come up. It's almost like it's manufactured. Like Jerry called Malik Hooker and said, call out Micah Parsons for me. I don't get it. One of the highest grossing organizations in sports in America, really, be scared to pay their players. It's disgusting. It really is. But Micah handled that way better than me. But this is my other point. Looking at how great Micah done been throughout his career so far, and you can try to nitpick different little things about Micah. Oh, he might not do this well, or he had a game where he missed this tackle. When you look at his overall body of work, Micah Parsons is one of them. When you look at that, you telling me that a guy like that, who done what he done in this league at the time and how fast he done it, You telling me that's not a dude who putting in work? You telling me that's not a dude who take his craft serious? You telling me that's not a dude who do everything he can to be the best player on the field for the Cowboys when he line up and when he put on his gear? You telling me that a dude who done had that type of production, he the reason y'all can't stop the run sometimes? Him having a podcast is stopping him? Because it ain't like he got a podcast and he go out there and play like trash. And it's also not like he started the podcast as soon as he got into the league. He had to put up some numbers before he just randomly started a podcast. Let me tell you something. There's going to be fans out there who say, yeah, you should focus on That's exactly what Malik Hooker sounded like. A fucking fan. The fans who be like, why is you doing that? You need to be in the gym. Why is you doing that? You should be practicing. Why is you doing that? You need to be at the facility working on catch. Like, bro, go suck a dick, bro. That man got a life outside of football. Not to mention, he said he record his podcast on his off days. Why would Micah not trying to play football the rest of his life? For one, he know that's not a reality. Two, I'm pretty sure he trying to get out of this game as quick as he can and accomplish everything as fast as possible so he can get out as fast as possible. You know who did something quite like that? Aaron Donald. So to try to get at this man for having a life outside of football because he don't, I hate it when people say, man, you got to live and breathe this. No, bro. I gotta show up every Sunday, Saturday, and Monday and do my job and be passionate and good enough to do my. Now, I don't even got to be passionate. I just got to do my job great. Because if I don't, you're going to cut me. It's the end of discussion. Regardless if I have passion, lack of passion, full of passion, don't matter. If I show up and do my job, that's all that matters. And as we currently sit here right now, Malik, my guy, Micah Parsons shows up and does his job better than most people in the league, including you. So you calling out Micah Parsons, your best player at that, that's what don't make sense to me. If Malik Hooker had the balls to call out Micah Parsons, can you imagine who else these motherfuckers would call out? Usually it's the quarterback. But Dak ain't the best player on the Cowboys. That's Micah. But they call out Dak all the time. We see people go at Dak all the time. Now they're going at Micah. The Cowboys have a problem. They have a problem. It's as simple as that. I'm not going to lie. Dak's brother, even though Dak kind of it do seem like people go at Dak a lot. Dak's brother, with the drama he always bringing. Micah's brother. Now you got Malik Hooker. Like, this is getting out. Jerry. Like, this organization is almost similar to a circus. It's crazy. But I do not agree with what Malik Hooker did. I think that's a real hoish type behavior. To me, it's kind of like when you post private messages on social medias for everybody to see them. I'm like, motherfucker, that was a DM. If I wanted everybody to see it, I would have just wrote it on your wall or tweeted it at you. Like, why would you show my personal messages? I can't stand people who do that shit. I'm seeing a lot of dudes do that now. This is what I'm saying, man. 2024, man. What a year, bro. We in some crazy times because you got men acting like women now. Growing up, the only people who used to do stuff like that was women. I knew a whole bunch of women who did that. I know more men who do that now. Disgusting reality. Ice up, son. With that being said, I appreciate you for joining me on another episode of Kicking It with Saint. It was a good show. Tell somebody you fuck with him. Tell somebody you love him. You can beat. Oh, wait a minute. Before we go, I almost forgot. Shout out to Alex Pineda-Potain, who knocked out Yuri Prohaska at UFC 303. For one, he knocked him out twice, basically, because he knocked him out in the first round. And 15 seconds into the second round, he knocked him out with a switch kick. Everybody keep calling it a switch kick. Clearly, that shit happened so fast that I didn't see it because at first I thought it was a roundhouse kick. But people keep calling it a switch kick, so whatever. Anyways, with that being said, I appreciate you for joining me on another episode of Kicking It with Saint. Tell somebody you fuck with them. Tell somebody you love them. You can be anything in the world, so choose to be kind to somebody today. I am currently looking at Warren Sapp. I mean, not Warren Sapp. Bob Sapp, big ass. Go down. So, what a visual. With that being said, tell somebody you fuck with them. Tell somebody you love them. I truly do appreciate you, man. Like, subscribe, share. Saint out.
I think it should be forgotten, especially when the score is already 41-17. So I don't know how much worse it can get.
I got the moves like hot sauce. Lil' mama taking the top off. I'm laying down getting topped off. After this, she know she getting knocked off. I know she loving the money, so I keep on thumbing and thumbing. She say she horny when she taking shots, so I keep them coming and coming. Now I'm putting dick in her tummy, scoop her up like I'm raking her something. You would think shawty red track, the way that she running and running. You getting dumber and dumber. You out here chasing the bone. After she finished from giving me dome, the Uber is taking her home.